Hi everyone,
Hey,
I'm Robert,
I'm Kat.
and this is our TLC Fall Session A, Level 2.
Yep, week 3.
So we're doing transitions, and this time we built on the material we covered last week.
Yes.
So last week we sort of froze moves partway through, and then had you kind of dance through and adjust and basically invent a different move out of it. That's a good way to add variety.
And this week we did something a little different.
Yeah. So instead of breaking a move down, we kind of either added to our sequence or interrupted the sequence with basically a time gap that you have to fill to reach certain kind of goals or certain orientations.
Yeah, certain parts of the music, whatever.
Exactly. So our sequence is the same we did last week. So a swing out, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then a follow turn, and then a belt turn, and then frisbee into closed, which we can't do because we don't have enough room, but it would be side and triple one, triple together.
Yes.
Okay? So the first exercise we did is we tacked on going from closed, you end up in closed after the frisbee, you have to end up in open. And we gave 16 counts in class to do that. But actually afterwards we stretched it out to 24 because that equals a whole phrase and a half.
Right.
So you end up even with the time. So for example, you do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2, 3, 3. And now you have 24 counts to kind of end up in open. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, do, ba, ba. Something like that. Were you gonna say something? I thought I, no. So after we kind of did that a few different times, the one rule that we had was if you immediately sort of sent your partner in open, you had to, that was cheating, so you had to come back to closed and improvise now with less time.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, and for the follows, I just emphasized keeping a good connection so that sometimes when your partner does something unexpected, just keeping connected and keeping our feet under us, keeping our momentum going, makes it easier for us to react to that properly.
Right.
And keep in the movement.
Yeah, exactly. And then one thing we talked about also, this tied a little bit more into last week, but the idea is instead of thinking like, I recognize this move and I know how it should end, you want to think of this connection more like a physics problem or a physics exercise. So that way it's easier to interrupt if I can anticipate what the physics of my partner is going to be, and if Kat can anticipate what certain direction, what I'm asking for by giving her certain direction.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So the next sequence that we did was in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
You had to end up in closed.
Right.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One more turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Right.
So from here you had 24 counts to end up in closed.
Yeah.
Don't need to recreate them here. But the goal was by here hit 24.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have to do a send out. Mm-hmm. And then do the last two. Belt turn, triple, triple, and a frisbee, triple, triple step.
Yeah.
And then
We did a similar thing where we had the first 2 moves, and then we had 24 moves to get to another part of the floor.
yeah.
So that was just practicing moving in those moves, which is useful, you know, if you're in a crowded dance floor,
Yeah.
or you need to get somewhere else to the floor, or any of those things.
Yeah. We kind of did it the wrong way around, where we had everyone start apart, and then by the end of those 24 counts, they were dancing closer together. But ideally, you would use it the opposite way, where if it's too crowded, you make time to get out of the way of other people, and then continue with the dancing you were doing.
Right.
So kind of a lot of abstract concepts.
Yeah.
It was something that we just kind of all had to work through and do a few drills.
Mm-hmm.
But next week, we have a lot of follow-oriented stuff planned.
Right.
It's not going to be follow exclusive, but this has been a little lead heavy so far, so we're gonna dip our toe into some follow material,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and most of it will be also useful for leads.
Exactly. So that's it.
Yes.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.